Hey y'all, I'm back with another movie interpretation. The Lord had me watch the movie Coraline, which is an animation movie. It came out in 2007, I believe, and I've been watching this movie. I've watched it a handful of times growing up. It's one of my favorite movies, but God had me rewatch it because he just showed me like a scene from the movie when I was praying, in the spirit a few weeks ago, and he wanted me to watch this movie, and he told me he was going to give me a word. I was already starting to get a download of the word because I'm already familiar with this movie and just by the different scenes he was highlighting. But here is the full breakdown of a word the Lord has concerning this movie, and it's titled, "Everything is not as it appears. Deception is being uncovered. Don't look back." So first and foremost, this movie starts off with a doll scene. So like a doll is being made in the beginning of the movie, and it's being made to look like the main character, who is Coraline. And we see her moving into this place in the next scene. So we later do find out that this person watching Coraline is using this doll that we see the person making to spy on Coraline's life. So it's very possible this lady was a witch. That's what I was thinking when I was watching. And I was thinking also the word voodoo during the movie. It wasn't exactly voodoo that she was doing, but something very demonically similar. So even though, it wasn't necessarily that, it was still giving very much witch vibes, because she did use a lot of manipulation and control. So a little more on that later, but moving on to the second scene. So you can see like the movers, they start moving stuff into this place called the Pink Palace apartment. And Coraline, the main character, shows up. She pulls a stick from the pink flower bush. She goes through the garden around her home. She lives upstairs, and she lives on like the middle level, and there's two old lady neighbors that live downstairs, and then a man that lives upstairs. So this black cat, which is going to be one of the main characters too, he starts following Coraline around, but she doesn't see him yet. So Coraline ends up running into the woods, and to kind of backtrack a little bit, the garden doesn't look very lively. It looks like a lot of dead plants that need reviving, and this scene just kind of looks a bit dull. Like the life was just kind of like it looks similar to like a cloudy day, And so the one plant that we do see is like this pink rose bush, and it looks very lively, and we see that she lives on the middle ground floor. The black cat is going to be important to pay attention to because this person symbolizes a destiny helper. So she finds the cat very annoying until something later happens in the movie that changes her perspective on this cat entirely. So we will actually get to see that this cat was actually coming to try to help and warn her of things to come, which is going to be the same thing the Lord uses concerning a destiny helper that he will be sending into your life if they're not already there already. So then we see Coraline standing on this old well, because mind you, she's in the woods, and then a boy on a motorcycle appears. His name is YB. So she finds him very annoying at first and very weird too. And he shows her the secret well, which he notifies her that she was standing on. And there's like a big circle around it. And he tells her how it's really deep. He wasn't allowed to say like why his grandma normally wouldn't rent the apartment to kids. It was kind of like a secret. So in retrospect, this person was a second destiny helper. Appeared very useless to her at first, but really she did end up needing this person in the long run. He knew secrets concerning what his grandma didn't want her to know. And then the cat knew secrets and information too. So if God hasn't already sent you destiny helpers, there are people that he's going to divinely send into your life, maybe even people you don't really favor at first, but don't be so quick to give up or remove them. These people are going to help you uncover what you need to know. For those of you who God has been saying there are secrets and information due to you that you need to come into knowledge about, this word is definitely for you. So the next scene switches to a kitchen scene with her mom working on a computer. Coraline wants a garden, and her mom says not right now. She's not really listening to her. She gives her the doll that YB had gifted her, and he left like a note on the doll that said that he found it in his grandma's house. It looked like her, so he gave it to her. So she then goes to her dad who's like next door in the room, and he's typing away on his computer, not really listening to her. Neither sends her off to go and count things around the house, her and this doll that looks exactly like her. So she's alone most of the time, especially when her parents are working and very busy. So you could be a person that has gotten used to staying to yourself, not depending on others to entertain you. This is due to your childhood and how you've grown up. You either were very misunderstood or ignored by the people that you love when you did want attention, and that's how Coraline is feeling towards her parents. She feels like they don't care, but really it's a lack of priorities, not prioritizing her in enough, and not giving her the attentiveness that she desires / needs. The doll she was carrying around the house that looks just like her suddenly disappears and appears next to this little door that has a lock on it by the wall. And her mom finds the black key in the drawer of keys, and it's very distinct. She opens the drawer, not the drawer, but the little door, and she sees that there's only bricks. Coraline was confused to why there was a key for the door then, but her mom didn't want to hear any more of it, and just was ready to be done with the conversation. So once again, Coraline feels ignored. There's a scene where her parents and her are having dinner later, and she doesn't really enjoy it. It's like they want the best for her, but she can't really see that. Sometimes your family could have the right intentions, but they go about it the wrong way. And for others, your family just don't try to understand you. So it could be either or for whoever's listening to this, if you resonate with how Coraline is feeling or going through life. So she goes to sleep and she wakes up to hearing mice and seeing them jump around her room. She follows the one mouse down the stairs and to the little door where the little mouse goes into. So she sees the passage is now open, and it's illuminated with color, like from blue to pink to purple. Very captivating sight to see, and she's curious to see where it leads to. So she goes to the door on the other side and sees that it leads to a place that looks an exact replica of her house, and she's confused. So she enters another world that her curiosity led her to, and it looks very similar to the real world of, where she was. That may be something that you can identify with. Being on your path with God can sometimes feel mundane and dull, but you want something different, and you end up getting distracted with worldly distractions or with people trying to lead you to do something else that may be attractive or appealing, but there's a cost to that. So she is now captivated by the smell of food, and she heads to the kitchen. She sees someone who looks exactly like her mom, and she's kind of like thrown off by it. She says she's her other mother, and she sees that this lady has black buttons for her eyes, and it does kind of scare her at first, but she moves past that second guessing that she had. The other mother sends her off to get her other father in the other room, because they refer to themselves as her other parents, and she was confused, saying like, I didn't know I had other parents. And they're like, yeah, everybody has other parents. They're lying, but anyways, I digress. So the other mother sends her to go get her other father in the other room, who he's playing the piano for her. So the dad plays in this machine is basically like using his hands to play the piano. Like his hands are inside these gloves that are like controlling his movements. So this second or other mother is going to be symbolizing somebody who's trying to deceive you now. And the other dad is somebody close to that person who is basically letting them make all the decisions and be the lead man and whatever. But this second person goes along with the plan of the main person, the main deceiver for now. So the piano the dad was at had this machine, like I said, controlling his hands, his movements, even when he would talk. And so there's a second person who close to the deceiver that will be of use to you later on, if not already now. For some of y'all, this is a now word, and for some of y'all, could be later on. But for many of you, you're in this situation now concerning dealing with somebody who the Lord is or will be revealing to you is deceitful, and you need to stay far from. But more on that as I continue through the word. So this next scene, they start eating dinner at the table. It's this widespread of all this good looking food, and dinner looks fun. So she can have like as much fun as she wants here and get milkshakes or smoothies, have whatever she wants. They even then usher her this cake in front of her that says welcome home. And they said that they've been waiting for her. And then Coraline's confused about that. And, about having another mother, and the mom, kind of changes the subject and said, let's play a game. So this other mother / person in your life has a plan set for how they think they want things to go for you, this deceiver. So they make things appear like it's all cool, and it's not. They have a deceitful plan that they're trying to walk you into. For many of you, this could be a family member, a friend, or somebody just in very, very close proximity to you. They have a very deceitful heart and mind, and the Lord is revealing that to you. So the other mother says how she loves mud, she loves games, all this other stuff that her actual parents don't really favor, but Coraline likes. So this other mother, this deceiver, is very manipulative and would do all the things that her real parents didn't like to gain Coraline's approval and have her relax and put her guard down. So she then heads to bed in her room. Even the room looks nice and decorative. The picture frame of her friends talking to her, and it causes her to miss her friends. The mom then gives her mud for poison ivy because she got poison ivy on her hand in the real world by being outside and touching that stick she was carrying around. So they know her whereabouts because of the doll, because they're spying on her. Coraline doesn't figure this out till the end of the movie, but this doll went with her everywhere, honestly. There may be some way this person is spying on you, being a monitoring spirit, either through social media or somebody close to you that can give them information they need. Watch the people who always overly question you and get mad when you don't give them answers that they're looking for. High key point that they are a sign that they are a monitoring spirit, someone sent to gain information. And some people can be monitoring spirits and they don't even know it, not aware. But if they have open doors to the enemy, he can use, anyone to be a monitoring spirit. So have to use discernment. She then wakes up and sees her poison oak is gone, and she's back in her real house, in her real bed. She tells her mom and dad about all that happened, and they just claim it's a dream, and they don't really pay much attention to what she's saying once again. And she gets mail for Mr. Bobinski because their mail got mixed up, and she takes it upstairs to him. He then speaks with her a little bit, and before she goes and heads off, he warns her that his mice said to be careful going through the little door. It's not safe. And she basically claims, but it's all closed up, because she's confused between, she hasn't came to the reality of knowing whether that her going through that other door, like if it was a dream or if it was real. So she's in the in-between space, kind of like second guessing. So yeah, and then he mentions something about like his circus isn't ready in his house. That's why he didn't let her in. So they spoke outside. So once again, her parents are not listening to her, and then she gets the first warning from this man who's her upstairs neighbor. She was confused by it because they were saying one thing, but she was seeing another, focusing too much on what she could see with her physical eyes. So God will send you people to warn you, and you may have waved off the first warning, but God could have sent like a YouTube video or something else to grab your attention. But pay attention to the confirmations and signs and warnings the Lord is giving to you. Don't let it just be in vain. If he's repeating something to you, it's something that he's trying to get across to you, and ask him to make it very plain to you. Coraline ends up going downstairs and is greeted by 3 black dogs that belong to the 2 old ladies, and they have cards on the table, and they were playing cards before she came. So they talk about the dogs and how she had the stuff like the dead ones or something like that. And so one of the ladies give her like a reading from her tea. And I want to say something on this. Don't ever go to a psychic or someone who dabbles in witchcraft for answers. God can use anybody to warn you, yes, but when you go to people who dabble in witchcraft, you give the enemy an open door. Any of you who have done that, you need to repent and close all spiritual doors. Ask the Lord for forgiveness, and the Holy Spirit help close off any open doors that were open because you open yourself up to somebody who is doing bakera bashante, maybe even tarot readings. That's what I'm hearing the Lord say. You need to close that door. You know who you are. Coraline sees a dark hand in the teacup, and she says, not Coraline, one of the ladies see a dark skeleton-like hand in the teacup doing this reading, and she says that, oh Coraline, you're in terrible danger. And it's like a black hand is what they see. It's a skinny one, similar to like a claw. They give her advice that's not even helpful. Don't really have to even do. I don't think they know the severity of the situation, but people who are in witchcraft can only help you but so much, and their advice will be unwarranted and ineffective. You need to go to God for answers and voice your concerns to him. Coraline ends up not telling them about the dream, the whole reason of why she came there, which wasn't really a dream, it was real, but nonetheless. YB then shows up once she gets outside of the house and says he just, found a doll. They get on the subject of the doll again. And then he says how the pink palace, the apartment she's staying in, is a dangerous place and he's not allowed in. He says how his grandma's sister twin was stolen when they were kids. His grandma rings a bell. You can't really see her in the scene, but you can hear her ringing the bell and calling his name and saying that he needs to come back home. So she's fearful of him just being out of her sight for too long. So the information that the person is sending as a destiny helper, that the Lord is sending as a destiny helper, it may take a little time before you get that information, but you will get it nonetheless. It wasn't until her second encounter with YB conversation that he actually shared like a tidbit of information that he wasn't even allowed to say, but he shared it anyways. This person once close to you, and you form like a friendship even, is willing to break the rules when it comes to giving you the info that you need. So at nighttime, she waits for the mouse to come to her room and follows him back through the door to the other world. And the doll sits by her bed and she lays down, but doesn't go to sleep. She waits for the mouse and follows again. This is night 2. So everything seems perfect once again when she gets back through the little door to this other world, and the other mom is cooking. She's making a cheese omelet on the stove and, breakfast. So she asks her to go to the garden outside to get her other father. The garden scene is very beautiful. She rides on this green praying mantis gardening machine the other father has, and she sees many beautiful colors and flowers. He blows this lovely sounding trumpet, and then they fly in the air, and she sees the garden looks like her face. And the food, the scenery, the kind personalities from her other parents all lead her into thinking there's nothing dangerous about her being there. So they have breakfast for dinner. The dad says everything is right in this world. I was hearing the word deception when he said that. Then YB, there's a second YB in this other world. He's supposed to be her friend in this other world, but the catch is that the other mother made it to where he doesn't talk at all, because she figures maybe that would be something that, Coraline likes, because in the real world, he talks a lot. So his mouth is like sewed shut. So he does end up, leading her, taking her upstairs to the circus. And what I want to say before I move on to the circus scene. Okay, so Once again, there will be somebody close to the deceiver that doesn't have the same bad intentions as the main person, but will play along until it's safe to help you. So pay attention to those God is highlighting to you. Not every person around the deceiver. In the other case, in this movie, it's the other mother, is as bad as they are. They might just be, this other person might just be under their same manipulation and control. They have to wait till it's safe, or they will end up risking letting you know what you need to see or what needs to be heard. So then Coraline and YB head to the circus together, and everything is set up. A show is put on specifically for them, and they're the main guest. In this other world, the parents try to make Coraline feel special. It's a setup to give her everything she doesn't have in the real world. So this setup comes with a catch to living in this reality of the other world. The cost to her living in this reality is her freedom and her life. She would be held captive there. There is a cost to this person or people trying to deceive you, but there's one main person that's the leader of the bunch, is what I'm hearing. So in this case, it's the other mother. And so you have to be careful how you move and what you're sharing with people God has warned you about. So then the next scene moves on to day 3, because I was just kind of like counting the days as I was seeing the scenes kind of like switch from day to night. So day 3, in the morning time, the mom and Coraline drop the dad to work, and then the mom takes Coraline clothes shopping. She's bored and desires to get a pair of mittens that she really likes, but her mother won't let her. She says she has to wear something that the other students in uniform won't be wearing. Like, Coraline wants to wear something that the other students at this new school she's going to won't be wearing. Like, she wants to stand apart and be unique, but her mom just wasn't going for it. So you may be someone too who is very unique, and you don't try to fit in or be like everyone else. You embrace being different, and this is what causes you to face a lot of rejection from people in the world, and also from those close to you who may be family or friends, but more so enemies, because anybody who doesn't really accept you for who you are, that's not your friend. The case with this is that people don't like things or people who are different, even if they claim that they do. So then her mom ends up heading out for a few hours. Once they get back home, Coraline finds the key that her mom hid because the mom didn't want the door remaining open due to the mice that she was finding, or like mice dropping. So her mom heads out the door while Coraline heads into the little door, unlocking it because she found the key that was hidden, and then her mom heads to the store in this afternoon portion. So the passageway is open again when Coraline unlocks the door, and she knows that the dreams aren't dreams, but they're real. So the cat in the window, the black cat, saw her go in the little door, and he basically like shook his head. If he could talk in the real world, he would have. But then Coraline goes through the little door and into the other house, and she comes to see a table set with food and clothes her other mother bought. The other mother had left a note saying that she'd return soon. So kind of like looking back on this, I realized that the other mother was taking this window of opportunity of sending Coraline downstairs to another show to go ahead and like steal her parents in the real world. That's something that I realized after I've seen this movie so many different times. I didn't realize that till watching it again. The black cat starts talking in the other world. In the real world, he says that he can't. Like, they start having a conversation, and she's like, "Are you even like the same cat?" And he said that he was, and the cat tells her that he's been coming for a while now in this other world, and the other mother tries to keep him out, but she can't keep him out. So he starts exposing to her the reality of this other world, saying it's not as perfect as she thinks it is, and that she's wrong about everything. Coraline has a hard time truly processing that this other world is not as perfect as she thinks, because she basically is like gaslighting herself. Even even with the different warnings. So don't gaslight yourself when God is using your destiny helpers, whoever he sends, to tell you the truth. Sit with God on the truth and allow him to help you process the information being told to you. I know it can be a lot when the Lord starts to expose the hearts of those around you, but it's all for a greater purpose. So she then heads downstairs to the acrobat show. The audience is full of dogs. The two ladies perform a ship and mermaid play, like a pirates and mermaid play, and that ends in a total disaster. And they come out of costume and they like unzip, and it's like two skinny ladies coming out of like two different costumes, and it's like they're young, they're no longer two old ladies. So they start tossing Coraline around in the show, and then YB at the end, the YB that can't talk, he throws a rose at her that she ends up catching. So what may look like one way is by far another, is what I heard the Lord say. So don't be deceived by appearances, especially when God is showing you what's underneath spiritually, in the heart of that person or people. Beneath the surface matters very greatly. So after the show, Coraline heads inside with the other parents, and the mother tells YB to basically like zip it. Like she pulls like her fingers across her mouth, like in the form of when you tell someone to be quiet. So she did that without Coraline seeing. And then the parents, the other parents, they head inside with Coraline, and they tell her how she can stay with them forever. And they present her with these 2 buttons that can be sewn into her eyes if she chooses to stay. And then Coraline immediately says she doesn't want them to sew buttons into her eyes, and she pushes the box away. So the dad then says, "Why? It's so sharp, you won't feel a thing." And then the other mother kicks him under the table to get him to stop talking. And so now the truth of what everyone has been telling Coraline has been setting in, and it's uncomfortable and scary. Once again, the person close to the deceiver, which is the other dad in this case, let the truth slip out. The other mother tried silencing him, but it was too late. Coraline decides to head to bed early, and she tries to escape away from them, because usually when she falls back to sleep, she wakes back up in the real world. And so the parents, before they let her head upstairs, they say that she will see things their way soon. So Coraline runs and locks the door and says she's ready to go and that she's not coming back. And she says that she's heading back home tonight, and she tries to force herself to go to sleep. And then she kind of like wakes up and she notices she's still there. So she's a little too late in the game to run away now that the deception is unfolding before her eyes. So she wants to run away from the truth and go back to what's familiar, so she doesn't have to use courage and fight back. There will be no easy way out, but never so. Don't ignore the warnings God gives. Either way, there will be a pivotal moment where you have to face this person head on, or you either let fear overtake you. And so the door to the main room for her to exit through this little door back to her real home is locked, where the little door is. And so she goes in the room. So that door is locked. It had like chains on it. So then Coraline goes in the other room where the other dad is on the piano, and he's like playing the piano very slowly, and his face looks very dreary, and the piano grabs him and says that he can't talk when the other mother isn't around. And the hands of the piano, like I said, are controlling him. So the other dad was allowing more truth to slip out, because Coraline said she wanted to go home, and then he said how the other mother was dealing with YB because he pulled a long face. This is the YB that she created that can't talk. But he was starting to like have facial expressions because he knew what was up ahead concerning Coraline, and he didn't want anything, bad to happen to her. So he started kind of like having like a sadder face, and the other mother didn't like that. So even though this person close to the deceiver is going to help you in some fashion, they'll still be a bit constricted in what they can fully share with you. Most of the truth will come out through people who can see in the spiritual realm, and also personally what God speaks to you. So sometimes it will come out physically through whoever God uses that's close to that person. They'll release the information like be leaked to you. So Coraline starts walking outside, taking a walk away from the house to leave, and the black cat walks along with her, and they're talking, and basically says there's nothing more to walk to, because they start walking away from the home, and it just starts like the world starts dissipating, and it's like they're walking into a void of whiteness. It's just white all around them. So they end up walking back to the same house, and the cat tells her that the other mother only created what would impress Coraline. And then because Coraline said, how can you walk away from something and come back to the same thing? And then the cat said, walk around the world. And then Coraline said, well, small world. But yeah, she basically only created what would impress Coraline. So then this circus mice pops out, and it starts blowing this sound. It was like a bit of like an alarm, like a trumpet, and the black cat kills him, and it turns this small little mouse turns into this ugly rat. It was so ugly, oh my gosh. But the deceiver basically has to put up a front and use what they know will gain your attention and your trust until it doesn't anymore. So the circus mouse using an alarm, like a instrument, I believe it was a small little mini trumpet, to kind of like alert the other mom that Coraline was near. That shows that the devil will catch on to your trail of escaping the control of this person or the deceiver. Prayer will silence any sneak attacks, so you need to make sure you move in silence. Don't announce your plans. Only share with people God gives you discernment about or releases you to share about. So then Coraline heads back in to face the other mother and takes something to break the main door. A huge beetle blocks the little door. Coraline says she's not her other mother and she wants her real parents. And then the other mother tells her to apologize, and Coraline said no, and she said, I'll give you to the count of 3. And as she's counting to the count of 3, it's like she's changing from this sweet outer appearance that looks like her real mother, which was set to fool her, and then changing into this horrible woman, her true form. So yeah, her true form starts taking place, and then she throws Coraline inside of a mirror, and it's kind of like into another room in a sense, but it's inside of a mirror. And it's like giving her like a timeout. If you're dealing with somebody who is like a controlling person, they're not going to make it easy for you to leave away from them or block them or they'll try to block you as you head in the right direction. You will see them for who they truly are, and no stunts they pull will be able to hurt you anymore. So they will try to do everything to get you to stay near them and stay in your presence, but don't let the attacks they pull scare you. Keep pressing forward till you're out of their grasp. This information you're finding out or will find out will encourage you to never look back and never let them back in. So Coraline hears children talking as she's inside of this other room and sees that it's 3 children ghosts. They have button eyes that needs to be found, and they'll be able to like escape this other world. And so they explain like what happened about, the other mother tricking them and they tell her, more of the truth about who this lady truly is, and how the lady, the other mother lured them away with words and actions, and then how she tricked them and took their lives. So Coraline is in the dark with them and explains her plans of escaping, and the ghost asks her to find their eyes so that their souls can be free. So it's possible that this person is also trying to control and deceive others too. Usually that characteristic or way they are continues with others or isn't like a new trait. So YB frees her from the other mirror, and then he helps her escape from the other mother and gets her downstairs. So she saw the other mother had sewn his mouth shut. Well, not shut, but like in a form so that he's smiling and can't really move his mouth anymore. So Coraline removes the thread from his mouth, and he pushes her into this other door, because the little door to escape, and she tells him to come with her, but he blows at his hand and she sees that he's made of sand. So she he pushes her in because the other mother is coming down the stairs at this point, trying to get back to Coraline or get her in her grasp. And so he pushes her in so that so that she can like escape, and she goes back through the little door to her home. So she locks this other door. And so this second person, if there is a second person who's been going along with this deception plan, this person is going to risk it all for you and lay it on the line. It could be the first person near the deceiver who does this, or second person it could really go either way, but they will help push you out and get you away from them too. So in the real world, YB came back to get the doll. She explains why the doll looked like her, and Coraline explains to him about the ghost and like her experience in the other world. But it's almost like he thinks she's talking a bunch of gibberish, and he doesn't really believe her and calls her crazy. And she says how she can't find the doll, and it just was she runs him out of the house basically, because she just was annoyed, because she's like, you gave me the doll in the first place, like this is your fault. So to some extent yes, but not all the way, because she still chose to go through the little door and ignore the warnings and stuff like that. So there could be a destiny helper who might not believe some of the stuff you reveal to them. Sometimes they're not meant to know everything you're going through, so pray for discernment. And so Coraline looks for her parents, but they're not answering their phone. They're not in their cars or at home. And she goes downstairs to tell the two old ladies about her parents, because she's back in the real world. So they make her something to help her find lost things, and this is what she ends up using in the other world to find her parents. So it's like this small magnifier glass. So this equals God giving you spiritual eyes to see, or increasing your spiritual sight. So he will put you in contact with people who can help you or be an assistance. So the black cat ends up waking up Coraline because she falls asleep, and she asks if he knows where her mom and dad are, and he shakes his head yes. He then leads her to a mirror in her house where they're trapped somewhere cold. She can see like her parents, and they're like freezing, and they draw on the glass, help me. And she said she's gonna get them out of there, and she breaks the mirror and the shards come down. And so the cat then shows her underneath her parents' bed the dolls that look exactly like her parents, the mini dolls the other mother had made for them. And so Coraline takes them and burns them in the fireplace. And her and the cat sit next to each other. And she said that she must go back to save them and face the other mother. So this was the final battle. There will be a face-off where you will need to stand up to this person, say how you really feel, and stand on it. Stand your ground. Don't run away from the confrontation. Don't run away from this conversation that will need to be had. God has been setting you in place for this victory on your end to happen. It's already prepared. So the cat tells her to challenge her to a game, because they go through the little door and they're kind of like in the passageway of crossing into the other world. So he's able to talk again. And he says, we'll challenge her to a game. She may not play fair, but you will have to be like clever to get her to play along or whatnot. So the other mother ends up tricking her when she gets closer to the door, because she like was pretending to have like the voice of her real mom when she notices, or she probably could hear like Coraline coming through the passageway, knowing that she would have to come back to get her parents. So she expected her, so she tricks her. Like she's bent down, standing at the other side of the door, and using like her mother's voice, like, Coraline, like, is that you? And then Coraline runs to her, hugging her, and she's like, Mom. And then she realizes that it's not her other mother. It's not her real mother. It's the other mother that's not her real mom. So then she grabs her and she said, I got you. And then the other dad, which is very overweight at this point, he looks horrible. He grabs, because he was very skinny at first, but it's like it's like he just was this very heavyweight all of a sudden, and it's like this dreary look on his face, like he really looked out of it. That's what I mean when I say that he's heavyweight. Not to say that people who weigh a lot of pounds and stuff like that are horrible. That's not what I'm saying at all. But anyways, the other dad takes Coraline and holds her, and the other mother basically takes the key from her, and she eats it. And then the other dad said, I think Coraline said, why don't you have a key of your own? And then the other dad, like it slipped out of his mouth, he said, there's only one. And then she quickly grabs him and silences him and sends him to the garden. So could be a final deception that happens to lure you back in, and the other person close to the deceiver is going to be going through it, basically. Not in a good headspace, but because they're connected to this person, they will have to separate themselves in order to be free, and so no longer under this control of this person as well. So the other dad saying there's only one key to unlock the door to leave is interesting. So whatever this deceiver is holding back from you, there's only going to be one key to you never looking back. So this could be, for many of you, finances they're withholding, or information or secrets, or something that's just been hidden from you that you've been wondering about. Whatever's coming to mind that God's been speaking to you about, there's something they are withholding that they will have to give back, because God's going to make them give it back or reveal, because the Lord's been speaking a lot about exposure. So Coraline goes to the kitchen as she makes breakfast for dinner. The other mother makes this, and as the other mother is cooking this food, Coraline challenges her to the game, and this gets her attention because she likes games. So Coraline uses strategy and proposes this game because she knows that she'll like it. Coraline wants to find her real parents in the eyes of the ghost children. That's what she proposes, and she says if she loses, she will let her sew buttons into her eyes and she'll stay forever, but if she wins, she has to let everyone go. So she basically ends up giving Coraline a riddle and then disappears. So in order for you to get what you need wisdom and strategy from God. You cannot do this apart from God. Follow the instructions and play along like everything is good as you plan ahead and use precaution and find out what you need to leave so that you can leave the grasp of this person completely. So everything about this person is already exposed, and you'll need to, or getting ready to be exposed, so you'll need to move carefully to get out safely, which you will. It's being exposed to you, okay, at this point. So then Coraline sees outside with the garden, she sees a part glowing, and she uses her magnifying glass to see it, and it's like a blue eye. I believe it's a blue eye. The first one is a blue eye. So she's looking outside using this magnifier, and the birds try to steal the looking glass from her, or the magnifier, and because she's able to see things that are hidden. So the other dad then is on this mantis he was using before when he was taking Coraline through the garden in the beginning of the movie and trying to impress her. He's using this to try to get to her, and he tries to stop her, but he fails, and he ends up getting his arm out of the glove to the machine that's controlling him, because his hands are attached to these gloves. He ends up getting his hand out to give her, the first red eye. It's not a blue eye. The first red eye for the ghost before he sinks into the ground. So this person close to the deceiver, one of them who leaked information, might be playing both sides, but will still be of use to you for you to get out whatever mess that was caused. So don't count them out totally. Don't rely on them fully neither, but until you're out of that situation, this person will be of help to you in some way, shape, or form. Coraline collecting the ghost eyes, she had to get 3, so she had 3 challenges, which she did win at the end, but it was very, very tough. There will be tests to you getting free from this person, okay? And these tests are building something in you. So the second place that she went to was downstairs where the 2 old ladies that turned into young ladies were. So the auditorium is empty where they had the show before. The ladies appear in a jumble in this paper mache candy that Coraline is able to see that they're inside of because of the magnifier. and she uses the glass magnifier to see where the second eye is, and she sees that the second eye is blue and it's in their hands inside of the paper candy mache. So she reaches in to take it. As soon as she does, the girls start screaming like, give it back, it's not yours. And then so Coraline has to get free from their grasp. She starts flashing this light up at the top of the auditorium because the dogs are hanging up like bats, and she does that and they start flying, and she moves out the way so that they can attack the girls, and then everything freezes up. It turns gray. So as she's completing the challenges, the garden froze up to turn gray, and now the auditorium turned gray. At least that center stage did. And so the third place that she heads to is the circus upstairs. The third eye she sees with the magnifier is in Mr. Bobensky's hat. So he tries to talk her out of going back home, and these rats end up coming out of him. And one rat has the eye. She didn't get it, but then the black cat ended up getting it for her because the mice, they just made it very hard for her to get it. But the black cat helped her out. So it helped restore her hope that she didn't lose the game and that she hadn't lost it all. So those were the two other challenges, but the black cat was a destiny helper, as you know, and helped her pass the third challenge. So definitely keep your destiny helpers in the loop of what's going on and update them as you see fit concerning or however the Lord leads you to. So the world starts turning gray and deteriorating to the color white, and then starts disappearing. So she has to run inside of the house to be safe with the cat. So you will start to see the world that this person has built start to fall apart. There is judgment after a time of someone getting away with things, and this lady that has been doing this for decades, maybe even centuries, her time of reckoning had came. So God gave this person ample time to repent concerning your situation, and you will start to see their downfall happen right before their eyes. It may not be the full downfall you see, but you will start to see the Lord start to deal with this person, maybe like the beginning stages, and the rest you may come to hear about. So Coraline is in the main room with the other mother, and she looks sick, worse than before. It's like her not getting Coraline fully or securing, knowing Coraline's going to stay there with her forever, is like it's deteriorating her outer appearance and inside even. So her hands kind of like turn to skeletons, and she claims that she knows where Coraline claims she knows where her parents are. She tricks her just to make her think that, to give her more time. And the other mother looks behind the door because she said, oh, they're behind the door. And she said, you're wrong, Coraline, but I'm going to check. And so she plays along. And so Coraline uses that to buy time to look around on the shelves to see where her parents are. And she sees them in a glass snow globe on the top shelf. So as the other mother is going towards the door, she coughs up the key because she had swallowed it, if you remember, when Coraline had came back. So not wishing this upon anyone, but God could cause this person to get very ill concerning the ones who are going to be reaping judgment. Everyone's judgment could be different and will be different because God deals with people differently, but sickness could be their portion due to the wickedness that they have sown over the years towards you. So when people try to drain the life out of you, they will reap their evil deeds by one way or another, because God is a just God. Everyone's punishment is different, but we serve God. Like I said, we serve a God who is just, Jesus Christ. So there is a reaping. Ends up tricking the other mother, and she says that she's not going to stay there forever, and she throws the black cat at her eyes, and the black cat scratches out her eyes, so it's like she can't see anymore. And then she casts this web and that they all fall into. And Coraline starts climbing out of it. The other mother's at the bottom of the web. Because it's like so she's at the bottom of the web, and so the other mother uses like the sound and vibrations to hear where Coraline is and starts crawling towards her up out of the hole of the web. And so Coraline gets through the door, and the ghost help her escape, and the mom is screaming, saying that she'll die without her, and she's banging on the door as Coraline is climbing through the passageway to her other home to safety. So for those who are in physical danger or mental danger, you're going to have to be clever to get away from these people or that person, but you will get away and you will have help. The same ghost that Coraline was helping had helped her in return. So please be careful how you're treating people. The parents don't remember anything that happened when they aren't in the snow globe anymore because she reaches back home, and the black cat comes to the window at nighttime and she apologizes to him for throwing her at the other mother, but she couldn't think of any other way to escape. So Coraline has the 3 eyes under her pillow, and basically she falls asleep and the ghosts warn her to get rid of the black key. They say, you're in terrible danger, and she said, how? I won. And then she said, the black key, it's the only one. And this black key symbolizes access. So the key that Coraline had to the door, represents access. It's an access point to do with the other mother, the deceiver. If there's papers or social media or something where this person could use to gain access back to you, you need to make sure you shut all doors upon leaving and blocking them out of your life. Pay attention to the last warning God gives and follow through. So Coraline then heads to the well outside in the woods, and this hand that slipped through the door from the other world that belongs to the other mother, because it's like a skeleton hand. It's like an iron skeleton hand, and it's walking on its own, and it's following her to try to get the key back. And then the hand sees she's about to toss the key down the well, and the hand tries to drag her back to the little door in the house to drag her back to the other world. But YB comes through on his motorcycle blowing a horn, and it's basically kind of reminding me like a siren, and he helps her. He helps take this hand from releasing the grasp it has on Coraline and throwing it down the well along with the key. And it was a real fight because it was even trying to attack him, but they made it through. And when it came time for the other mother to let her go, she didn't let her go without a fight, because she truly has no life apart from Coraline being there. She agreed to play a game, but she made it very near to impossible for Coraline to win, but Coraline truly prevailed. This fight is more spiritual than it is physical. A lot of this deceiver is a family member specifically, or somebody in very close proximity that God has been revealing their heart to you. This person is going to put up a fight to let you go, but God will make them let you go. Same way he made Pharaoh let the Israelites go when they were crossing the Red Sea. So this person's like, in that regard, you can read the book of Exodus, and it'll shine a lot of light on what I'm saying also in this movie breakdown here. So this is a set fight that they will lose and suffer the consequences for all that they've done to you. So then the last scene in the movie ends on a lighter note. Coraline ends up having fun with her parents, and they're just all very different now. They end up deciding to have a garden party where they invite the neighbors, and her mom even got her the gloves that she wanted. So the movie ends on a very good note. Once everything is over, life will be better than it once was. God is using all the bad that has happened or will be taking place to get you out, or that person removed from your life, and he's working it all for your good. It will be a faint memory compared to the new that he's taking you into, because you are in transition between your old season and your new season. So the Lord is using this exposure and challenges to basically push you out of the old into the new. So count it all joy and know that the Lord is changing things around for you, and life is not going to be how it's always been. God is providing a way of escape and a way out. So pay attention to all the warnings that God has given to you. But I pray that this message has blessed you and just brought like a lot of revelation. Watch this movie if there's like any confusion, and allow God to give you his own personal download of the movie. But I pray that some of these parts like resonated for you, and God continues giving you any revelation and clarity that you need. But take this message back to the Lord, and he will show you whether this message is for you or not. And you should already know whether it is because it will resonate with you. But yeah, pray y'all have a blessed day and see you in my next video. Bye.